And how sweet it is when we get together like this. Isn't it wonderful? When we get together like this, we've no worries. More than that, we've no complaints. We're not irritable with each other, are we? No, we're feeling good. And we feel part of something that's good. And we feel part of something that's unfolding more good. And we have that sense of being in right place, and that sense of something's taking care of me. Something good is happening. Something good is going on. I'm here, and as a result of being here, I'm blessed. I'm blessed as a result of being here. And I am, because why? I haven't come here for any other reason except to come home to myself, to sit in my own company for a little while and enjoy the greater part of myself. Enjoy, that amazing state of myself. That part of me that knows all is well, no matter what, all is well. In spite of any conditions that may be out there, in spite of any of the nonsense I've engaged myself in, all is well. And it takes us coming to this kind of a moment to get that. To get that. And I often think that if what we were thinking and feeling on Sunday morning when we're here, in class of an evening when we're there, on Wednesday morning when we are here, if what we were thinking and feeling would remain with us for the rest of the days and the hours of the week, we would grow exponentially. We would transform amazingly. We would be living an awesome life beyond our imagination. We cannot just be Sabbath or Sunday spiritual beings, aware of ourselves as spiritual beings. And so it surprises some people when spiritual leaders endeavor to call what is known as the ordinary everyday stuff back into the energy of a Sunday morning or a Wednesday morning or a class night. Because when that happens, you have to stop moaning and groaning and bellyaching and complaining and all of that. And you have to stop seeing yourself as somebody who has been offended or somebody who has been victimized or somebody who has all of this stuff going on. And what is that all about? It's all about when we're together like this, we're one in spirit, we're one in mind, we're one in heart. The greater part of us is awake and alert and tuned in, and we're all in touch and in tune with each other. That's what's happening. And also what is happening is that we're having a sense of that energy and that power and that presence that's always within us, but now we're feeling it a bit, at least. We're feeling it at least a bit. And it's what parents do to children, and they don't like it. When children are being less than the parents know that they are, and the parents call them back into knowing who they really are and how life can truly be for them if they'd learn to share. And I remember that once with my grandnephews. They were squabbling and fighting in the back of the car. And they were fighting over a piece of silver paper, that nice silvery paper. And there was only a year between these boys, and they looked more like twins. And so they were, thumping each other and grabbing at each other and so on. And then it didn't seem to be that the parents could calm them down. And so I opened the back door and I said, "Well, what's going on, boys?" And Then they told me what was happening. I said, well, may I have the piece of paper, please? The silver paper. It's very beautiful. I see each one of you would like to have that. And they gave it to me. And then I just tore it in half. And I gave half to one of them and half to the other. And they're going. And they calmed down and settled down. Now, thankfully, I could do it with a piece of silver paper. I mean, if it had been a doll or a soldier or whatever it is boys play with, a truck or, you know, and so on, it mightn't have gone as well. But it went very well that way. And it was they both now understood that they were not deprived. One or other didn't feel deprived because the other one had something the other one didn't have. And so what we are inclined to do gets our days a little bit messy and gets our stomachs in knots and our heads aching is to imagine things around something that's happened that may or may not be true. Mostly it's not true, what we're imagining. Mostly we're going to grievances. And when I mentioned, and I mean, I'm always working on this one myself, I have to tell you, always working on it. In the power of intention, it's stressed all over the place, and not only in the power of attention. What truly upsets us, what truly gets us off balance, is our very quick tendency, the tendency of the ego to get offended. If you think about it, it's very easy to become offended. And not only about our own stuff, but we get offended about other people as their stuff. We get offended when other people are offended, if you know what I mean, as if we haven't got enough to cope with ourselves, but we do. And I think it's like those little boys thinking that something's going to be taken from me, or that somebody else has something that I should have too, or whatever that is. I don't know what that is. All I know is it's icky. I don't like it in myself. And I don't like having to contend with that in myself when I do. And when it does come up, it always surprises me. And I don't know why it does, because it's the natural human instinct, you know, for the ego to be in charge and in control. And I know until I get my ego in charge and in control, life is going to be tetchy and have its difficulties. And it doesn't have to be that difficult at all. I could make it much easier for myself. So could we all. And it's that self-righteousness thing that's in us all, you know? And you can feel it. Can't you feel it rising up in your body? That energy? That energy? You know, it's the how dare they energy kind of thing. How, you know? Don't they know who I am? No, they don't know who you are, or themselves either. If anybody's offending us or troubling us or hurting us or upsetting us, they haven't a clue who you are, because they haven't a clue who they are themselves. So that's a useless question. It's an abortive question. Don't they know who I am? No, they don't. Because they don't know who they are themselves. Because when we know who we are, we do not offend. And we cannot be offended. Uncomfortable stuff it is. It's uncomfortable. It's nice to sit around and just kumbaya kind of thing. And not trouble. And yet we must trouble. What trouble must we trouble? The trouble that we feel in ourselves. If we're troubled, we must trouble it back, in the sense of touch it, look at it, take it out, see what it's all about, taste it, feel it, see if it's real, and if it's ready to be released, whatever that is. Because it's all about healing in the beginning, the middle, and the end. If I'm upset in any way, if I'm pained in any way, it's because there's something that is saying this needs to be healed. Whatever it is, this needs to be healed. Now, what is healing? Last night we had that in class. Healing is not something I go to somebody and have them heal me. Healing in metaphysics is the revealing of the wholeness and the health that is already within me, that I already am. That's what healing is. Healing is what already is available to me, and I access it from within and not from without. So, in other words, it's physician, heal thyself. Always, physician, heal thyself. Now, in deciding to heal myself, I may be led to go to a physician of mind, body, heart, or soul, or a physician as in a plumber, or a physician as in a whatever, a dentist, a physician as within, a friend. I might be led in that direction, but I first have to know that it is mine to do the healing. And I simply do it by understanding I'm already in that state of open receptivity to any good thing I desire, because that's the way I'm made. And that in knowing it and trusting it and allowing it and being receptive to it, it will happen. But that I have to back up with the way I think and feel, which is not always easy, because all of us are in the habit of worry and concern and doubt and questioning. All of us. There's not one of us on the planet that doesn't worry at times, are concerned at times, question at times, and doubt at times. And that's okay, as long as we, work through that ASAP. And then call ourselves back to knowing, hey, why? I have something available to me, and it's the only something that really and really and really and really and truly can, fix this situation. Now, it may take a whole village in the process to assist and support in my healing of myself, but I will be led to that, whatever that looks like. The thing about us is we have this feeling that if we could only find that someone in our lives or that something in our lives that could pick us up and carry us, as we used to say as little children when we got tired, Mommy, Daddy, pick me up and carry me, I'm tired. And that lingers with us, that this healing that I need, whether it's mental or physical or spiritual or emotional, has to come to me from outside of me. Somehow or another, I'll be led to the holy well, to the great person, to the right this, the right that. And that's what's going to do it for me. And if you have noticed that all of us at times were rushing, we're always rushing to get to something, to someone, to some place, rushing, hurrying. There's a lot of hurry in our lives, even here in the sunny Bay Area, where things are a little bit more relaxed and laid back, or so we're told. There's a lot of rushing goes on. And sometimes I wonder where everybody's rushing to, including myself at times. Get on the freeways and you think to yourself, why are all these people on the freeways rushing to something? Especially when a car really does come tearing in and out and all of that, trying to get to somewhere faster than everyone else. Now, Thich Nhat Hanh says in his beautiful book called Silence, we are surrounded, we're within such awe and wonder when we are present, when we are listening, when we are observing, when we're in the moment. It's amazing how awesome and wondrous that moment is. But he says for that to happen, you have to stop. You have to breathe, and you have to listen. You have to stop, breathe, and by breathe he means consciously, and listen. Stop, breathe, and listen. And then all of life will speak to you. All of nature will come to you and share with you its secrets. But we have to stop, breathe, and listen. And I was just contemplating that this morning. I was thinking, oh my gosh, what if we could see each other as awe and wonder? And what if, when somebody comes to us, we would stop and breathe and listen? What if we could imagine that moment as the most precious and cherished and treasured moment of the day, of my life right now? What if? What if we could receive each other like that? What if parents could receive their little ones like that? What if siblings could treat each other like that? To begin with, because that's where it all starts, under the roof called home. What if we could do that for each other and for ourselves? Would this world not be a very different place? So that instead of seeing combatants come at us or competitors come at us, who want, and I really don't like that expression, who want a piece of you. You hear it all the time. What if we didn't see or decide to feel any of that, but just see whoever it is coming to you, with however they're coming to you, as life's opportunity for me to stop, to breathe, and to listen, and to see beyond the illusion to what is real, and discover the awe and the wonder of the other. It's not possible unless you can do that with yourself. Unless you can look into the mirror and be inspired by the awe and the wonder that's reflected back to you, you won't be able to do it for anybody else. You only see what you first see within yourself. And that comes from what you're feeling within yourself. You can only see the world according to your own picture. See, the world is never as you think it is, but it is always what you think it is to you. And here's the thing about that. Life responds to us by corresponding to us. So as you see life, life sees you as that reflection. It'll reflect back to you. What you see into it is what will be seen back when it looks into you. And that's a scary thought. I don't know about you, it scares me. Because I'm not always thinking the best of thoughts. And when I'm not thinking the best of thoughts, it's when I have become focused on too many things at one time. I'm in a rush, in a hurry. I'm not even aware I'm breathing, far less breathe consciously. At times. Thankfully, those times get fewer and fewer as you keep making the endeavor, as you keep making the endeavor, as you keep making the endeavor to really state and support and back up your intention to be present and to endeavor to see beyond the illusion to what is real. And in the Bhagavad Gita, that's emphasized all the time. Help me to go beyond the illusion so that I can see what is real. And very little of what comes at us is real. I'm not talking about realism, I'm talking about reality. There's only one reality. It begins with a capital letter, R. And that reality is life. And that life is good, and that good is what most people call God. It's the only reality. And you and I are its image, you and I are its likeness, you and I are of its substance, you and I are of its essence, you and I have the capability of tuning into its power, drawing from its power for good. And as a consequence of that, with the desire for good for all, we can make a huge, huge difference on this plane. Huge difference on this plane. But the problem is the ego keeps us bound up with our own small individual lives. And we get so caught up in having to have this and having to do that and having to achieve the other and having to attain this and so on and so forth. See, the ego always wants to be accumulating. Only the ego wants to accumulate whatever it is. Success, reputation, wealth, whatever that is, that's only the ego wants to do that. You see, the soul of you, the spirit of you, the substance of you, and the essence of you knows it's already got everything it needs. It comes into this life with no thing. It leaves this life with no thing. It comes in as essence, it leaves as essence, and it will not be bringing any stuff with it in, and it won't be taking any stuff with it out. And yet, look at our lives. What are they all about, Alfie? Stuff and things. I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. Some people can't wait for the latest gadget. Oh, I need the latest thing, always. I need that. Oh, I need to have it. Doesn't matter if I don't need it. I want it. I want it. Stuff, 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 stuff. And then when people leave this plane, and God knows, please, please, whoever is listening, whatever is listening, let me leave this place without leaving some other poor unfortunates to come in and clear out all my stuff. It's a terrible thing to do to someone. So I'm sowing the seed of Zen-likeness in my life. I'm far from it as yet, because it would take a good deal of time to go through the stuff and release it and let it go, the excess stuff. Because basic needs are very simple. Basic needs are very simple. So the minimalization of life and living, as you reach a certain point, you realize that. Some of us here know that. We stop collecting and we want to start giving, and we're in the process of giving now. The collecting time is over. And we're knowing this, that I'm here to collect all right, but myself, that's what I'm here to collect. Myself. My true self, and only my true self. So I come in with this great spirit of openness and receptivity. I come in here with the givingness of spirit alive within me. I come in here knowing I am a vessel through which spirit is going to shower forth good, good and only good, and I'm good with it, and then because of spiritual amnesia, that the form falls, pushes us ever gently to begin with, and then sometimes not so gently, into all that miasma of stuff and things and what I'm supposed to have and succeed at in order to be seen as a successful person in life. By whom? Do I care? Are people and their opinions causing me to do what I really don't want to do or I'm not that interested in? Well, if that's the case, it's silly, is it not? And yet, we're influenced. We're influenced by the opinions of others greatly. We may say we're not, but how we live our lives belies that. No opinion should matter in my life except my own of me. And the opinion I have of myself ought to be the same idea and concept that life has of me, that I am an expression of greatness and wonder and awe and beauty and grace and goodness. And it's mine to do with whatever I will do with that goodness. Now, this is really big stuff that you and I are being exposed to today for some reason. It wasn't exactly what I came in with, but there you are. It often happens like that. And we must be able to take it if this is what's being dished out to us today. And it's not always, it's not, don't hear anybody laughing, you know what I mean? None of us are laughing at this idea. We're there and we're serious and we're thinking, okay, all right then. And yet, we don't want to waste our opportunity on this plane, and we don't want not to know who we really are and get in touch with that. And when we do, then we have faith in the power within us. We lose our doubts, we lose our fear, we lose our concern, we lose our worrisome tendencies, we lose all of that. Because we know all of this stuff is not who and what we are. And it's like the mistakes that we make, and we make many mistakes that cause upsetness to ourselves and people around us and so on. Well, all of those are like as if we are cosmically sleepwalking. And in our sleep, we do things that we would never do when we're awake. So instead of berating ourselves for the mistakes that we have made in the past, some of them very big indeed, some of them that go very deep, we have to remind ourselves, I was cosmically sleepwalking, and I was doing things because I wasn't being myself. I wasn't being myself. I was caught up in this nightmarish dream kind of thing, sleepwalking. Spiritually sleepwalking. And the whole idea is to quickly release and let go of all of that and say that was then, and that was my responses then. But I'm not that person now. I am not that person now. And I have to be able to let all that stuff go sufficiently that I stop looking over my shoulder at what may be coming at me as a punishment for God knows what not. Because people have a strong feeling in punishment, oh, this is what's happening to me because, in my youth I did this, that, or the other. No, it's not. I remember even growing up I knew that there was remission to sin. You could get forgiveness for all of your sin, no matter what your sin was. And then it's over and done with, and you start out with a very clean slate. Start all over again. So I think what we need to do is stop thinking of karma following us around all the time, like a big, heavy boulder waiting to drop on top of us. That's not how it is. Every moment, you and I can be a new creation, a new creation, a new creation, a brand new creation. Pure new creation every moment. Once I release and I let go of the haunting past, right up to this moment. Let go of the ghosts of things past. Just come into the glory and the wonder and the awe and the beauty and the grace of today. The power of today. The power of now. You hear me say it over and over again, the only place you have any power is now, today. There's no power in yesterday, there's no power in tomorrow, because they're not existing yet. And the past doesn't exist now, the future doesn't exist now. Only now exists now. So just think of it, I can be really burdened and weighed down. And in a moment, I can get this sense and this feeling, and I can rise up out of all of that heaviness. I can rise up out of all of that history. I can release all those stories, and I can start all over again. Spanking brand new. That's what every day gives us. Every time you and I awaken in the day, open our eyes, we're in a new opportunity, we're in a new possibility, and any great good thing can happen. And that should be the first thought in our heads as we open our eyes. Today, any great good thing can happen. Nothing negative, or when the negative runs through, if you went to bed with a problem or something and you woke up, you say, you let that go. Today is a new day and any great good thing can happen. Because I intend for good and only for good to happen. I don't care what it looks like out there. I don't care if it's hailing or raining or storming, and I'm not talking about the weather. I don't have to take that on. I can calm those storms, etc., by simply knowing that there's something greater in me than I am. And with its amazing grace and me tuned into it, this day could be the very best day I have ever experienced. Is it easy? No. And you can't do it straight away if you're a chronic worrier. If you are a chronic worrier, you have to work into it. You have to practice, practice, practice until you become very proficient. Now, here's the thing about practice. You and I never stop practicing. And if you ask any of the great ones, they'll tell you. You know, they may be in their 70s and 80s and they're getting better and better even. And people say, oh, you know it so well now, I'm sure you just sit down at the piano and out it comes. And they say, no, I practice 5 to 12 hours sometimes a day. They practice. They never stop practicing. They take none of it for granted. They practice. What are you practicing? What am I practicing? That's what we need to ask ourselves, and it is today's question. What do I constantly and continuously practice in my life? Because believe you me, you are practicing every day of your life, and so am I. And whatever is going on in my mind, that's practice. Whatever is going on in my feeling, that's practice. Whatever is going on in my life, that's practice. I practice tea making a lot. Yes, I do. I'm quite the expert now in good teas and the variances between the same flavor of teas according to different brands and so on. Quite practiced in that. Some of us are very practiced in criticism. Some of us are very practiced in competition. Some of us are very practiced in loving kindnesses. Some of us are very practiced in physical exercise. Some of us are very practiced in sitting in a TV chair for hours on end. You see what I'm saying? So our question today is to ask ourselves, what am I practiced in and very well practiced in? And let us look on it on the affirmative side of life and on the negative side of life and see what we could become more inclusive of over here and see what we could release more of over here. This is a good practice in order to heal whatever needs to be healed, to mend whatever needs to be mended, and to fix whatever needs to be fixed in our lives. And I'm speaking to amazing, radiating energies in this room. And I'd like to remind us all, if you could see yourself as Spirit sees you, you couldn't stand to look at yourself. it would be too bright and too brilliant and too much energy. You wouldn't be able to take yourself at your truth level yet. Neither would I. But we're on the way, and we really do want to allow ourselves to peel away the layers of the illusion so that we can get that sweet kernel of truth that each one of us is, and start thinking from that, feeling into that, and doing as a result of that. It's always about that. So remember, smile a lot. Smile a lot, it does help. I can guarantee you, if you're smiling, you couldn't possibly criticize yourself or anyone else. It's very hard to do when you're smiling. Because smiling has an energy, and it's not the energy of criticism. I can assure you, it's not. I mean, there are people who practice smiling every day. Would you believe that? Deliberately practice smiling and practice laughing every day. I mean, it's just as good as working out, because when you're laughing, the whole body is in sync with this higher, more joyous energy, and as a result, changes occur in the body for the better when you're laughing and when you're smiling. And don't you know it yourself when you go out with your pals and you spend a lot of the time and you're laughing a lot of the time together, and you feel so good after a get-together like that. You feel so very good. You feel the better for it. People will say, I'm the better for that. I'm the better for that. And you want people to leave you because they can, feeling the better for having been in your company. Wouldn't that be a lovely thing if everybody was to leave us feeling, gosh, that was great. I feel the better of having met her or him or them or they. That's our challenge for today. Let's go around and do our business of the day with the endeavor that if I encounter somebody, they're going to leave me feeling better than they found me. And guess what? Who feels the best of all when that happens? We do. That's the bonus. That's the benefit. So honor yourself. Recognize yourself. Bless yourself. Love yourself. As one of my teachers used to end everything with, he'd say, beloved. What am I going to say? Some of you must know it by now. Honor yourself. Love yourself. Respect yourself. Because God dwells in you as you. Now there's a good reason to feel good about yourself and to support that godliness within yourself and to support it within everybody else too. So I am knowing that now our energy is very heightened, and because it is, we're going out there to heighten the energy of everything and everyone around us. And that's you doing what you're here to do, simply by being your beautiful self. That's all. There's no task for you except the one for you to know who you are, what you are, and whose you are. And so there you have it for today. That's what we're all called to today, and we're saying yes to it, are we not? Yes. I'm saying yes to Spirit's calling within me to come higher. And Spirit's always saying, come higher, friend. Come higher, friend. Come higher, friend. Which means, come home, friend. Come back to yourself, friend. Wake up another little bit today. So we end the way we always end, with a little ceremony that we have, the ceremony of exchange, reciprocity. We give, we receive, we give.